The apple on this jersey is tremendous.
Tremendous.
I would absolutely love if they just made that the crest on this jersey.
We have Winter Classic jerseys. As you all know, on January 2nd, the New York Rangers will visit the Florida Panthers at the Lone Depot Park. Is that what it's called? At Lone Depot Park in Miami for a Winter Classic. What?
Yeah.
No, stop branding stuff.
We both just shook our heads.
Stop branding shit.
I mean, I don't necessarily have a problem with branding shit. It's got to be like, it's got to sound cool, and it's got to have some sort of, like, Staples Center is a world famous
Crypto.com
and it hasn't been called that
shit.
for like 5 years, and we're just always going to call it Staples Center.
I mean, ASU's football stadium went from Sun Devil Stadium that hosted Super Bowls, to Mountain America Bank Stadium.
Okay.
Fuck you.
Well, there was a leak yesterday of the Rangers Winter Classic jersey. So I don't know if the plan was for the league to release these today, but they did. And after several mock-ups and questions of what it might be, here are your 2026 Winter Classic jerseys. You'll see them in action on January 2nd. But if you're watching on YouTube, and we hope you are, on the left is Vincent Trocheck in his Rangers jersey. And on the right is a slimmer, maybe sick, Aaron Ekblad. Not as bulky, but
nobody knows why.
I don't know why. Maybe it's the striping on the legs that make his body look different, or maybe he's changed his diet. That's Aaron Ekblad.
Horizontal striping supposed to make you look bigger.
It's supposed to widen you. But initial thoughts, Pete.
I like the Panthers one. I wouldn't go as far as to say that it's an A, but I would say that it's like a pretty healthy A-, and then a strong A- to the Rangers uniform, which is not offensive in any way. It's just boring.
Yes, the Rangers one is not creative, but the Panthers one is just ridiculous enough to work. That's how I've been phrasing it all morning.
Yeah.
Is it good? We're not talking about if it's good.
It has personality.
Yes, it has personality. Yeah. It's absurd. And I was one of the 2 people in the world who liked the Canadiens striped jerseys. Mm-hmm. Because it's just thinking outside the box. And sometimes when you think outside the box, you come up with great. Sometimes you come up with bad. And sometimes you come up with, damn, you thought outside the box, endearing. And that's how I feel about this Panthers jersey. Just ridiculous enough to work.
Here's my big problem with the Rangers one is that their last outdoor game, the uniform was a billion times better than this one. Mm-hmm. The Stadium Series with the NYR was just unbelievable. I love that jersey. And my big problem, do we have a picture of the shoulder patch with the apple? Mm-hmm. The apple on this jersey is tremendous.
Tremendous.
I would absolutely love if they just made that the crest on this jersey. And if you have an apple, make it big. It's called the Big Apple.
I went back and forth on this. I thought about that because typically whenever we have these conversations, the first thing is, should they have just made the shoulder patch the crest?
I feel like that always is
St.
the
Louis
conversation.
last year.
Yeah. The shoulder patch should have been the crest is the hockey version of this meeting could have been an email. The shoulder patch could have been the crest. I think they still would have needed to do a little something if they had the shoulder. I mean, it would also be boring if they just made
a huge
different. Apple.
It would be different. They I hate criticizing it. Like, it sounds stupid to criticize the Rangers for making a Rangers jersey.
Yeah.
But every time the Rangers make a jersey, it's just a fucking Rangers jersey.
Well, this proves,
except for the Stadium Series one. That was like fun and different.
This proves to me more than anything that they need to stop putting the same 2 teams in Winter Classics. Like, of course, the Rangers jerseys are going to get boring eventually. Blackhawks jerseys are going to get boring eventually when you have to do essentially the same thing 10 different times. I don't think either of the jerseys are particularly that bad. I'm surprised you like the Panthers one because it's a faux back.
Yeah, but it's at least using an old logo, and I mean, but like that's what the Winter Classic is. Like, if you're putting a team in the Winter Classic, you are basically doing retro style uniforms, and I think that looks fun and different. I do agree with something that you said pre-show, DJ, which is that there seems to be a general disconnect with the aesthetic and the vibe going on here.
No, there were 3 meetings for this, I feel. And in 1 second, I'll describe what the jerseys look like in case anyone's listening on audio. We apologize, but it seems like someone had a meeting for what's the feel of this Winter Classic going to be? And then someone else had a meeting that was, all right, well, what do we want the jerseys to look like? And then someone else had a meeting for, and what should the patches look like? And just everything. Like, we're going to, the music for this is going to be like trap beats.
I mean, it's
just to make
like
it
Rick
even
Ross.
more like coming
It's
from
gonna be Pitbull.
No, it's going to be
and
like
DJ Khaled.
It's going to be like Houston music for some reason because it's all over the place.
It's gonna be UK drill.
The patch and everything, and the kind of aesthetic of the game itself is very like neon Miami with a twist of Christmas in July. The jerseys are very heavy on this is from 1920.
Yeah.
Which they did not have neon lights in 1920.
And where is this game being played?
Lone Depot Park in Miami.
Have you ever taken a look at that place?
It's a fucking warehouse.
Yes, and it's like very modern.
Yeah, it is going to be wildly,
it's going to be so weird to look at like
kind of
the surrounding environment with that weird warehouse, new age kind of new baseball park vibe, and then two teams playing a fake throwback game.
Let's fill people in on what these actually look like, by the way. The Rangers jersey, we can just say, is an inverted Centennial jersey, essentially, right? It's kind of like an inverted version of the Centennial jersey I
like
like
the same, like the normal blue,
which was
red.
explicitly kind of their point. They said it was like part of it was supposed to be another chapter in the Centennial.
Very good for them. And then the Panthers one is like a 90s, like their 90s jersey, but made as though it was created in 1920, which was, we're going to get to the jersey explainer in just a minute, the team's aim. And I would say the hallmark of this jersey, for me, it's the stripes that stand out, but I think the other thing that catches the eye is there's kind of a cruder rendering of the Leaping Panther.
And I love it.
Which I don't hate.
This is the second time this has happened in a Winter Classic where they've taken a modern logo and kind of made it a Crack Bear-esque version of that logo. The Predators did it when they played in Dallas, and I liked that one too. So I think this is a tried and true method where it's like if you don't necessarily have a true long ago throwback uniform to go to, just make a shittier, more crude version of the logo that you use, and it works.
What would happen if we had less talent and less tools at our disposal?
We have jersey explainers, which we love, and I need to credit, I don't know who made these. I believe this is from Fanatics, who listens to our show, and I made this as though they had to make a jersey explainer where they did not want people mocking the jersey explainer. This is a good jersey explainer. I think it's from Fanatics or the League. I don't know who it's from. Maybe it's from Discover. But the description for the Rangers is the jersey front reads New York.
Why?
As a compliment to the Centennial jerseys Rangers. The design honors the franchise's traditional light jersey. Bold, oversized stripes echo the Centennial uniform colors. I think that you're catching onto a theme here, which is we just did the Centennial jersey. And then the left shoulder features the NYR initials inside an apple as a tribute to NYC. For the Panthers, the crest is a vintage take on the original Leaping Panther featuring felt and chain stitching. I do want to say it's good they brought that up. I want to feel that. I want to touch that crest so fucking bad, man.
Oh, yeah.
I'll say, like, the more that I look at this Panthers jersey, the more I really like it.
I'm in.
Dude,
it's also a very good captain's patch.
Yep.
Very good.
Let me finish. The shoulder patch is executed with traditional craftsmanship. Who's saying no to that? The chevrons in the decorative stitching are inspired in part by Florida's military heritage.
They
so
love
Pat
the
McAfee
military.
voice, you hate this jersey.
You hate the troops.
You hate the troops. And then the rat silhouette on the rear hem loop is a nod to the Panthers' beloved home victory celebration. Sean, if you want to flash that up, have we shown that? Yeah, it's got the little rat on there, which is cool. I like that people take that little tag to do some fun shit. Yeah, man, I have a Seth Jones Winter Classic jersey from last year. That is a very, very, very touchable jersey. Like, look at that. I can promise you that crest feels better than, I don't know, actually that Penguins crest looks like it feels pretty good.
Are
too.
you gonna make it back-to-back years with a Seth Jones Winter Classic jersey?
I know.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
You
I
should.
feel like you kind of
that should just
almost
be your
obligated
thing.
to
Yes.
Seth Jones Winter Classic
Fuck,
jersey.
I mean, I want that jersey anyway.
He's going to become like the Corey Perry in Stanley Cups, but of winter. Like he's just going to get traded to the team that's playing in the Winter Classic every year.
Famously, you never tried to get rid of that one.
Nah,
No?
Find proof.
Stop asking questions.
There's no so quit asking.
he understood the rules the entire time.
I think we're going to have back-to-back years of very touchable, it's like Seinfeld, you felt her material kind of Seth Jones jerseys. And I look forward to seeing if we can make it. We have a super chat from Shark Squatch 55 who says, how does Macklin Celebrini's play this season affect Nathan McKinnon's Hart candidacy? Thank you for the super chat. Could you stay on topic?
I know.
We are. We're going to talk about Macklin Celebrini in just a few minutes. Thank you very much. Here's my big question I want to ask off of these jerseys. Have we ever seen, and it's with the Panthers jersey, have we ever seen this collar before? Sean, throw it up. Thank you, Sam Reinhart, for modeling. You've got the bib that ends before the league mandated shield that we don't like being there, but you've got a stripe because this jersey is, if you're still listening on audio, oops, all stripes. We cannot emphasize how many stripes are on this Panthers jersey.
Very Steelers-esque.
Yes, you have a stripe going across, but being broken up by the bib that does not do the full circle thing. And the closest thing I can remember to anyone doing this, Sean, do you have the I also sent the Kraken Winter Classic one that's kind of similar, but I don't remember anyone doing something like this with the stripe breaking it up. I think I like it.
That's a crazy development because you're famously the world's foremost crest hater in terms of the placement. And when I look at the Panthers one, if we can go back to that, like that whole thing can look different and probably does look different if that crest isn't there.
Yes. No, I am big get rid of the shield, but yeah, and I know what you're saying. If they don't have to have the shield there, they can complete the collar, and that would be kind of interesting because then you've got the blue dipping down into the red that you, I think, only otherwise see on like the biceps.
Yeah, like I think what ultimately happens, and if that crest isn't there, is that you get the pointed end of the collar, whether it's the navy, and maybe they follow it with the gold or the yellow there too, where it kind of like looks like a V.
I think they have to make it circular. If they could, although the shield and the triangle needing to be there.
Look at the Panthers retro that's in your locker on the far right here.
Yeah.
Like that, it probably follows that format if they can do that, but they can't because of the shield.
Drives me crazy. But I like that they're kind of forced to be creative because of the shields. We're all in agreement. Move that shield. And collars can be better. We've had a lot of
I've always pushed back on the shield thing. I
Really?
like that the shield.
I don't mind it, but I do agree that it limits what you can do.
Yeah,
You
it
fucking
definitely
lost
does.
sleep over the Rangers Centennial one, which maybe they could have done something different.
That was
with.
more about the collar than the shield.
But I think that it's all kind of. I bet when they're designing that, at least someone says, if only this fucking shield weren't here,
Yeah.
we'd be able to do something that we really liked.
I do like that in both of these. They went with kind of like a beanie type of, I don't know how to describe it, but it's almost like a sweater type of, like you could see the stripes in the collar.
Mm-hmm.
Like they did that on both of them, and I like that. Kind of feels very like wintry. Yeah.
If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to What Chaos here on YouTube. You will get everything, daily episodes, player interviews, and so much more. It's all here on the What Chaos YouTube. Hit subscribe.
The Sabres have so much organizational dysfunction that if they do not get out of Yarmo's way, for lack of a better term, this may not be the solution either.
It has happened. Kevin Adams, per the Buffalo Sabres, has been relieved of his duties as general manager. Would like to thank Kevin for his Terry Pagula. Jarmo Kekalainen, new GM of the Sabres. Sean, what are you smirking at?
It's just funny. That like it was
Man lost his job. That's so funny.
that part's not funny. Kevin Adams, I hope the post Sabres life treats you well.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this was inevitable. It's been the second they hired Jarmo Kekalainen for whatever his title used to be, this was inevitable.
Yeah, that's always such an awkward situation when they bring in someone as like a senior advisor, and it's like very clearly that person is more qualified for the job, is gunning for the job, will probably get the job. Just it is a running clock. Where are you in terms of like overdue? I
mean,
good to do it now.
It's obviously overdue. It shouldn't. Kevin Adams should not have started this season as the general manager. And like I've said, I think on several occasions that like I think by comparatively to like the rest of the Sabres fan base, very not protective, but like a Kevin Adams apologist to I think certain people. Like I think he's been maybe critiqued more than he deserves. And I think he's done good in a lot of instances, especially considering the circumstances he has found himself in. What's that?
Paterka trade.
The Paterka
did a really
trade,
good job.
Like he did a really good job on that. I think they've made some decent draft moves. I think like even the Eichel trade, it's like actually now I might be getting my timelines messed up. But regardless, like I think Kevin Adams has done a generally a pretty solid job. Considering the circumstances, considering a GM or an owner who refused to hire a president of hockey operations because that's his job, and he was also clearly more focused on the Buffalo Bills and their stadium and stuff like that. So, like, I've been maybe a bigger defender of Kevin Adams than most people. That being said, when the team has performed the way the team has and has looked the way it has over this 5.5 years of Kevin Adams, that guy has to go, especially when there is no one above him other than the owner. So it is what it is. It was inevitable.
Yeah,
he did make the Eichel trade.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
And I think even that one, all things considered, like you got two guys who are full-time NHL players out of it. You had zero leverage in the situation. Would you like to have a superstar on the team still? Like, respect to Tage, but like, sure. But I think considering the circumstances, he did about as well as he could have. But not well enough.
I don't know if he did about as well as he could have. And I think there were a lot of instances which proved that he is not a savvy general manager.
Yeah,
I think that he had a
clear.
lot of missteps.
Not a good GM.
Yeah, a lot of missteps. He probably didn't deserve to be named GM in the first place. Seems like he was very much a yes man for the Pagulas, and that got him the job.
And kept him the job.
And I think that it kind of speaks to what I said earlier today when we were talking about the potential of this happening. There is a widespread organizational dysfunction within the Buffalo Sabres that doesn't entirely fall at the feet of Kevin Adams and what he's done as general manager, but he's part of that organizational dysfunction in the fact that he held that position in the first place. And I just don't think there were enough people in leadership positions over the past several years to check Kevin Adams or to check anybody really. Like there were just not enough people in leadership positions to get this thing on the right track.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say that he's incompetent, but like, for lack of a better term, like incompetent person, incompetent. Like whose fault is that?
Yeah,
really?
and that's kind of always been my thing is that like ultimately, what did you want Kevin Adams to do? He got offered the job and he got offered extensions. Is he supposed to say, no, I'm not good enough? Like, of course he's going to keep that job for as long as he can and do what he is capable of doing, which clearly was not a whole lot. Like, I want to make it very clear. Kevin Adams absolutely needed to go and was not a good GM. I just don't know how much of the full-scale failure of the Buffalo Sabres over whether it's these last 5.5 years or obviously the last 14 years, most of which Kevin Adams wasn't a part of, like, that's not ultimately Kevin Adams' fault. There is just, he was underqualified for the position to begin with, did not have the resources to get good at the job. Like the hiring of Jarmo, even if he was just going to stay an advisor, came several years too late. Not Jarmo in particular, obviously, because he had his own job, but like of somebody of that kind of caliber and experience. And again, at the end of the day, they've lost a fuck ton of games and have not made significant roster moves to change that. And that's the general manager's job.
I also think, like, I believe in Jarmo as a good general manager. I think his body of work in Columbus was very, very good. And He's well respected. I think that he is the right man for this job. I'm excited that he's back in the driver's seat. But again, the Sabres have so much organizational dysfunction that if they do not get out of Yarmo's way, for lack of a better term, this may not be the solution either. Like, I hope that Yarmo is put in a position to succeed. I hope that they've learned about themselves over the past handful of years in the way that this has gone, that they allow him to make some decisions. They allow him to put his own people in place. And you read a report that came out right after the fact that was saying maybe this isn't the end of changes in Buffalo. There might be more to come. I wonder if that extends to Lindy Ruff in allowing Yarmo to choose his own guy.
I mean, it has to. Whoever is telling that reporter, and apologies, I forgot who.
It's Jeremy from WGR. So
okay.
I don't know.
Whoever, if it's somebody from the team that's saying, hey, there's more stuff coming, and it's not a head coaching change, shouldn't have said there's more stuff coming. Because now you're putting it out there like, okay, this is going to be an overhaul, which the team obviously needs. Not necessarily like, usually when everything has gone to shit with the team, you're like, everyone needs to go. It needs to be like, roster needs to be turned upside down and everything. Like, this still, I think like we're all in agreement. The roster just needs to be better supplemented. The roster doesn't need to be completely overturned. And like, if anything, I know these are unrelated, but like, it's hard not to think of the Quinn Hughes situation and Yarmo coming in. It's like, your job is to make sure that does not happen with Rasmus Dahlin and with Tage Thompson, as it has already happened. You weren't there for it, but as has already happened with this specific franchise.
Yeah, the list is they need to supplement the roster. They need to fill the gaps. They need to change the culture. They need to change the culture of the Buffalo Sabres, and they need to... Why are you shaking your head?
No, they've needed to change the culture for 14 fucking years. And like, that's not like... And that's ultimately my thing, was what you kind of started with this with, is that like, I don't think Yarmo was the answer. I don't think Yarmo is going to fix this. Like, ultimately, I think a lot of the problems that this team have are directly, at the very least, correlated to when Terry Pegula took over the team. And that's not changing. So unless Terry Pegula has had this like massive awakening and is like, you know what, I'm truly going to get the fuck out of Yarmo's way, I'm going to let him operate as basically the president of hockey ops or whatever. If that's happening, then maybe this is the difference. But nothing over the last 14 years or since Terry has bought the team has suggested that that's the way this is going to operate. So I have no confidence that this is going to change anything. I agree that firing Kevin Adams was the right move, but whether he keeps Lindy, gives Lindy a little bit of time and then replaces Lindy tomorrow, like, I don't think any of that is going to ultimately change what the Buffalo Sabres are culturally, who they actually are as a roster, which, like, as we said, I don't think is inherently a bad roster, but certainly is not a good roster. Like, it needs to be supplemented, as DJ said.
Sometimes I look at it and I'm like, it's a good roster.
You know who's really...
You said that nothing's changed. That is very false in the sense that you cited earlier on today's episode that this is the first time in the Pegula era that they've hired a general manager who has general manager experience.
I mean, yeah, that's absolutely true. It is definitely a difference. And I think it could be a signifier that Terry is kind of, his eyes have been awoken to maybe some of his missteps in the past. But I just, the greater body of evidence suggests that that's not going to happen because it hasn't happened at any point over Terry's tenure with either, quite frankly, the Sabres or the Bills. Like, the Bills have plenty of their own issues that have led to them not fully capitalizing on like the Josh Allen era and stuff like that. And I think, again, that's a product of who Terry Pegula is as an owner. But yeah, I mean, I think like it could be the difference.
It's a good day in Sabres history.
Yeah. Like, it's a step in the right direction.
Right. I think it's a sign of a potential shift.
Yes.
And that's what the Sabres need. I just had very, very little confidence in that team, in that organization, by staying the course.
Yeah, staying the course was quite obviously not the answer. And so I am going to view anything that's a change as a step in the right direction. I'm just not going to sit here and be like, they finally have figured it out. Because you clearly haven't been watching Buffalo Sabres hockey for the last 2 decades if you think any one move is the answer.
What gives me
It's
so
like
much
buying
hope
a gym
here.
membership and being like, nice, I finally
I'm
have
in
made a
shape now.
decision to change. I got a gym membership.
Yeah.
What gives me so much hope here is not just Yarmo's resume, it's that he is not cut from the Sabres cloth. Like they keep going back to the well with Sabres people and like keeping it in the family. This is not an organization that like can keep doing that or should keep doing that based off of the franchise history.
Now,
There's
I
not
agree.
enough there to be like, we're keeping this in the family. So if you're letting Yarmo do his job, he is not going to be tied to the history of the Buffalo Sabres.
However, and I like Yarmo. I think we all think that Yarmo is a good GM. You say, okay, sweet. You are solving the Buffalo Sabres problems by bringing in the Columbus Blue Jackets guy. And to that, I would say, if I'd have to look back at when these players left, but like, I bet Yarmo wanted to keep Panarin.
Oh, yeah.
Wanted to keep
the
Bob,
retention issue.
like made like good, like had built good rosters there, but whether it was ownership not wanting to spend or just like some players want to be in different markets or bigger markets, but like I don't think that any of the roster issues, like you said, like that being able to keep players, I don't think, I could be wrong, I don't think that was a general manager thing.
I don't know. I don't know enough about it, but yeah, that was the story in large part of Yarmo's tenure in Columbus. He could get good players. He could not keep good players.
Yeah.
And
Keeping
I don't
good
know how
players
much
has
of that
been
is Columbus. I don't know how
Buffalo
much
thing.
of that carries over to Buffalo, but
I mean, keep it like I would say the most important thing the Sabres can do right now is have the key pieces that they have committed and thinking, like almost like the Canucks thing, where like once you think this sucks, this isn't going anywhere, then before long, the players turn from solutions to problems themselves. And not to say like that Rasmus Dahlin or Tage Thompson would ever be throwing fits, but I think like if they don't feel that they're in a good situation, obviously that's going to make its way into how they lead. So like I would say task number one is make these players feel like this is where they want to be.
Yeah. What's interesting here too is that this team is not currently out of it.
No,
They are last place in the Atlantic Division, but they are 7 points from the top of the division with 50 games left to play.
They've won 3 straight.
They've won 3 straight. They're one of the hottest teams in hockey right now.
And honestly,
we have a new hottest team in hockey. It's the Buffalo Sabres.
and honestly, like I wonder how that plays into like I think I and many Sabres fans are reading in between the lines or however you want to put it that like Lindy's on his way out. That Lindy is clearly not a Yarmo guy, and then people jump to Torts, whatever. But like the Sabres keep winning games, you're not going to fire that coach. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. But yeah, I'm interested to see how like Yarmo, how he interacts with some of the Kevin Adams guys, like Bo Byram and Jack Quinn, downright bad hockey players this year. Like Quinn's had some moments. Bo Byram's really bad. And then you have like the Alex Tuck situation, like what you do with that, because Alex Tuck, again, not, especially like considering that he was the part of the at least in the Eichel trade, like does Kevin Adams have more of an attachment to keeping him and potentially overpaying him than someone like Yarmo would? Like, I like the fact that we have a guy that is not inherently tied in with the culture or the players on the roster. But again, it's the Buffalo Sabres, man. It doesn't matter. Something's always gone wrong. So we'll see. But again, step in the right direction.
It's the first day of the rest of the Buffalo Sabres life.
Definitely.
You know?
Yeah.
If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to What Chaos here on YouTube. You will get everything. Daily episodes, player interviews, and so much more. It's all here on the What Chaos YouTube. Hit subscribe.
I know that there was a lot of talk that he would leave money on the table. He would take a team-friendly deal. It would be short-term. I didn't expect 2 years, and I definitely didn't expect him not getting a raise at all.
Connor McDavid is staying in Edmonton. Connor McDavid has agreed to what is reportedly a 2-year contract with a cap hit of less than $15 million annually. We're on the road, got a lot of moving parts. we knew that just for the sake of making our lives harder, this would happen now. But Pete, this has happened.
It has happened. I got to be honest. I'm a little bummed, and I know that like the Oilers fans are not going to hear that. We want to hear that. Congratulations to my Oilers fans, friends. We do a show called What Chaos. We thrive in the chaos. Man, it would have been so juicy. Plus, we have a million things that are in the works right now, and some of those are going to be dated because of the Connor McDavid extension. But congratulations, Connor McDavid. Congratulations, Oilers fans. 2 years, though.
Yeah.
That, like, you're in a Connor McDavid contract year next year, basically. Or in 2 years.
We're going to go through how it happened, and we're going to go through some questions that we have off it. The 2 years, to me, I am just immediately hit by fuck. Like, so it's not over. But at least you don't have to go through it this year wondering, is he about to leave? But here's how it happened. Here's the timeline. Today began with Elliot Friedman saying there would be clarity, this is on 32 Thoughts, within the next day or two on the McDavid situation, either an extension or him explaining to the team why he wouldn't sign, which I hated that idea because I'm like, that clarity is not going to get out, and we're just going to know that he's not signed, and that's going to stink. Then Frank Saravalli, what?
There's another update. Ryan Rishaug just tweeted hearing sub $14 million for Connor McDavid.
Oh.
Like, the number keeps going down. First we heard sub $15 million, now Rishaug saying sub $14 million. Like, Tom Brady, even though that Tom Brady stuff is a little bit more complicated, but like Connor McDavid is taking so much less, leaving so much money on the table in order to help the team here.
We have to ask the question, is Leon Draisaitl overpaid?
He's making more than Connor McDavid. I mean, the most overpaid player in the league right now, Kirill Kaprizov.
I mean, by 10 miles, which I was going to give him a blank check, but yeah, that looks so. I've got a lot of thoughts on that. I'll just give my pure, wear it on my sleeve, dump my heart out. I hear 2 years, less than 14 per. I'm like, man, that sounds to me, maybe I'm just a doomsday guy. Like, he's like, I'm really leaving after this, so I'm going to be really, really nice to you before I do that.
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm really leaving after this. I think that I want to win here. This gives us the best opportunity to win here in this 2-year window that I'm re-signing for. If you bozos don't get that done in the 2-year window that we have, then I'm going to get my money, and it's probably going to be somewhere else.
And 3-year window, because it's this year,
correct.
It's the next year, and then it's the year after that. Love it. Ice Districts Authentics just tweeted out a link like, hey, get jerseys. Good idea. Strike while the iron's hot. I'll buy one of those weird cream jerseys that we said we didn't like, and I don't think the Oilers are very happy with us because we said we didn't like it. But I'm a happy man. I'm a happy man. Am I content? No. Just not my style. But it would not have been good for this team. And I know that like
12.5.
What's that?
12.5.
Sub 13
He stayed
million?
the same. He didn't take a raise. That's what he makes.
Oh, my God. That's crazy. Oh, boy.
That's right, Sean.
Yeah,
Sound the
that's
alarm.
right.
I don't know if that was. I think I might have to hate Connor McDavid now.
Why?
I just am out. I'm out. Him. You got to be selfish. You got to be selfish. You got to raise. You got to raise the tide for all the other players. Be selfish. The NHLPA has to hate this.
Are we also aware? I think the soundproofing in here is pretty good. That we're in like Kings facilities, being like Connor McDavid.
You too. I'm out. I'm out. I'll be the bad guy, or I guess the good guy in this situation.
I mean,
But I'm out on Connor
this
McDavid.
is legitimately stunning. Like, I know that there was a lot of talk that he would leave money on the table. He would take a team-friendly deal. It would be short-term. I didn't expect 2 years, and I definitely didn't expect him not getting a raise at all.
He took what would you call it? He took the Connor McDavid version of the league minimum. He took the Connor McDavid minimum.
Yeah, like the precedent has already been established at what Connor McDavid should be paid.
Yeah.
You can't go less than that. So he literally took the Connor McDavid minimum.
Or it could have been doing the Jim thing in The Office when they do the performance review. and he's getting himself psyched up while Dwight's like, I'm going to go in there and ask for a raise, and Jim's like, I'm going to go in there and ask for a pay decrease. I think I'll be able to get it. 12. Oh man,
I got to bring this up because chat's talking about it. You mentioned this for Sidney Crosby when Sidney Crosby signed at the number that he's always had, $8.7 million, and you theorized that it would make him easier to trade during the life of that deal. Do we have the same conversation for Connor McDavid?
You know the truth. And yeah, I want to joke around with it.
You.
Folks, like, we got to be in the real world. We know those are different circumstances.
I thought you were going the other way, and that they were using the savings that they're not paying McDavid to bring in Sidney Crosby.
Yeah, yes, let's do that. That I'll do. Okay, yeah,
that's why I was like, why aren't you excited about that?
He rolls they pass the savings on to Sidney Crosby. Sid's going to get retained. He'll double retained, probably. They'll trade him to the Blackhawks in the first week of the season, and then Blackhawks will wait the 75 days, the asinine rule that we have now, and then, yeah, sure. Edmonton Oilers, $4.35 million?
Do you think the NHLPA is just like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They have
know
to be
that
pissed.
they are like that.
Yeah, that's why I'm a strong believer in unions, and so I'm upset at Connor McDavid for undermining the strength of the union.
Does it come out in the wash a little bit though because of Kaprizov? Like Kaprizov signing first, being like, this is what you can get, fellas.
No, because the NHLPA, when they look at Kaprizov, they go like, okay, now we have a player that is obviously better than him.
But at like a bargaining table, the comp will be Kaprizov. It will not be McDavid because everybody will just be like, yeah, well, he just fucking went crazy and signed the same team-friendly deal that he already had there. Like, that's not a realistic comp anymore. He just did them a favor.
In the chat that, like, Logan Cooley's about to get paid Connor McDavid money.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking at the Oilers Puckpedia page. It does feel weird. It's just confusing to see Connor McDavid for the next 3 years at $12.5 million when, like, guys are going to be... The $10 million number is, like, not going to be a crazy threshold anymore. It was once upon a time. It's not. Cap's going up.
Like, $10 million is a good player, I think, now.
So Connor McDavid, realistically, is getting underpaid by... And I'll break the Elliot Friedman basketball book rule and compare players who are in different situations. But Kirill Kaprizov is worth $17 million. Connor McDavid is worth, I think we said, like 21 or something. Let's make it an even 20. Connor McDavid could have gotten 20.
Correct.
Connor McDavid could have gone maxed out, which only one player in league history has maxed out. But say he went and got 20, he is giving the Oilers a $7.5 million discount. Like, I know people will say, okay, well, that's him throwing down the gauntlet and saying, like, you better put a good team around me. It's also being an insane person. Well, because you could have done that and still made $16 million a year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, do you think that any part of this comes down to, like, if he chooses to leave in 3 years, God forbid.
Thank you.
Like the people in Edmonton can't say, like, oh, what an asshole. Like, what an asshole. He burned us. He left us. If they don't win a Stanley Cup. Like, now, I feel like
you're thinking fans aren't that rational.
For sure. They'll definitely be delusional. But I think that, like, this sets the table for, again, if you don't win a Stanley Cup in the next 3 years, you can't blame Connor McDavid. Can't blame Connor McDavid whatsoever. You have to blame management. He gave you a huge favor, and you still didn't get the job done.
Yeah, I mean, now that I know that this contract exists, I'm like, well, I mean, he could have given a huger favor. Could have done 4 times 12.5, which I kid. It's insane what he has done here, but I'll go back to what I said earlier. I think that in his mind, he's going to be like, all right, like, if and when I do go, you can't say I didn't give you everything.
Right.
I don't know if you'd have thoughts, but why do you think it took so long then? Like, if he...
my questions that I had on here were, why did he stay, or why did it take so long? And after all of this wait, why do you think he stayed?
Well, I think that he wanted to stay. I definitely think that he wanted to stay. I think this is clear proof of that. The reason why it taken so long, like, I don't think that this is the deal that he wanted. I definitely don't think this is the deal that he wanted, but we've been saying it all along. I don't think he wanted to head into the season having to answer these questions and having this loom over him. And if he has to take like basically a 2-year extension on the contract that he already has, maybe that's just his way of just saying, fine, let's do this. Let's get it off the table and let's proceed business as usual and open this window for 2 more years.
What do you think the deal he wanted was then? Because they would have given him any deal he wanted. And that's on the dead folks.
I don't know what he wanted, but like I can't imagine he wanted a 2-year deal at the salary that he was currently making.
Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, and love you, Darnell, mean it, the team isn't as tight up against the cap, and they can give him $17 million a year, and it's good for the union and everything. But here's the problem. With or without Darnell Nurse, with or without like any contract that you're not crazy about, Oilers are going to have no cap space at all times, no matter what. Mm-hmm. Because like that's just the way it was. Like think of any team that's been good for a long time. Boston Bruins were always in cap hell, and yeah, you could say like, oh well, they're giving Chris Kelly a million more than he should be making. The reason teams a lot of times, really good teams, are in such cap constraints is they have a lot of really good players. So, like, they were going to be on a Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl team, accumulating everyone they could possibly get no matter what. So, even if they didn't have a Darnell Nurse, they were going to have 2 more guys who were making that money or 1 more guy who was making that money. And there was not going to be an easy 18 mil to just break off to the best player in the world.
Right. And, I mean, with McDavid leaving like $3, $4, $5 million on the table, you can go out and get another Trent Frederick for 8 years.
Dude.
That's a first-line center, Trent Frederick.
Yeah.
He didn't leave.
Not first-line center.
I need to reiterate.
I mean,
they
just locked up. They locked up their first-line center.
Yeah. My first line.
Does
Yeah,
play center,
my
though.
bad.
So
My bad,
Connor, but you said 3, 4, 5. It starts at being a $5 million discount.
Definitely. Yeah.
Like, if he signed for 15.5, we would have been having not quite the holy shit, like stunned at the no raise at all. But if he signed for $15.5 million, you bet your bottom dollar part of this conversation would be like, well, he's telling the Oilers, like, look, I could have been making a lot more, and I just want to win here. With the savings, by the way, in the future, Oilers have locked up Jake Wallman 7x7, which I'm not the biggest Stan Bowman guy. It's a risk with Jake Wallman because he's had some up and downs in the beginning of his career, but I think really good contract.
I mean, based off of the way that we're looking at defenseman contracts now, like again, like you're saying, $10 million is basically like a good player with the way the cap's going up. $7 million for Jake Wallman, like a middle pairing
second
defenseman.
Pair guy. Yeah,
that's a pretty good value.
Also, extended Knobloch.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Everyone.
Maybe that's what Connor was waiting for. His guy.
Shit, I gotta hit up Bob and ask. Be like, yo, so after all this, was that whole room thing true? Y'all know about the room thing?
The movie?
No, I know all about
it.
Okay. Sean, what do you know about that?
Oh, hi, Mark.
What's that?
Oh,
hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Yeah.
I didn't hit her.
I did not hit her. It's bullshit. I did not. You remember when he tells that he's like,
all right, get on with it. Get on
I
with
beat
it.
her up so bad.
Tell
she
the
ended
room
up
story.
In the hospital. What a story. People were the Oilers there was an event room that they have at the arena, and there was some scheduling thing where suddenly Monday you couldn't do anything in the room, and they canceled everything in the room, and people were like deep in the weeds in building scheduling talk and research.
Shohei Plane Watch.
It's the new Plane Watch. Yeah,
Plane Watch was cool though because we knew there was a plane.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a room.
That is true. There were.
We've been in that room.
Who's in the room and at what time we don't know, but we do know that there's a room in Edmonton.
Oh yeah, I guess Shohei.
There was a plane in Toronto. It just Shohei didn't end up being on it.
That's right. Okay, so I was thinking like Daisuke Plane Watch because we knew like Daisuke got on the plane and we were like, he's coming to America. He's coming. He'd already agreed to the deal. I don't know why people were tracking the plane so much. Just
sports fans are delusional.
Make sure he got here safe. But I'm trying to figure out the taking so long. Like, I can't imagine he was like, you better sign Knobloch. Like, he's.
I was definitely joking about that.
No, but like what else?
Yeah,
what have they done that like they got Ike Howard a long time ago, and again, like the Knobloch thing, he had to have won more games in the league since he took over than anybody. Like, he was obviously going to get extended.
Yeah, but what if it's not anything more complicated than like he has a bunch of options laid out in front of him, like a bunch of different contract structures and things like that, and he just didn't know.
I feel like
he just needed to think on it, and today's like literally the last day that he could have thought on it before it carried into the season. And at the end of the day, I've been saying this all along, it would have been very, very hard to imagine Connor McDavid heading into a season where anytime something goes wrong, people are going to ask him about the fucking contract.
You're trying to win a Stanley Cup. And if you're the Wild and you're looking at what's happening above you in the division with the Colorado Avalanche and the Dallas Stars, two of the best teams in hockey, like, you need to make a push.
We have a trade to the Vancouver Canucks, Marco Rossi, Zeev Buium, Liam Ogren, and a 2026 first-round pick to the Minnesota Wild, defenseman Quinn Hughes. Pete, I feel a little robbed. I think we are kind of taking it easy in terms of the where's Quinn Hughes going to go? What could the packages look like? Because we thought we had time to figure this out. Quinn Hughes becomes a free agent at the end of next season. And yeah, we thought maybe he ends up getting traded this year because the Canucks were kind of turning into a mess. But I feel a little robbed. We got a couple of days of Red Wings talk. We had some time doing the Devils thing. But out of nowhere, Pete, comes Bill Guerin, and I got my own thoughts on this, but I want yours in reaction to the Minnesota Wild landing Quinn Hughes.
Yeah, I mean, the inevitability of the Quinn Hughes trade we felt it, but I still didn't feel like we were going to get it mid-season, and definitely not this early, and definitely not to a team that we hadn't really discussed as a potential option. Like, this was shocking, but like, if Vancouver knew that he wasn't going to resign there, and they seem to know that for quite some time, it's a good time to trade him. And it's a good time for another team like the Wild to go and make that swing, because if they want to flip him at some point and they decide that they're not going to be able to get him to sign an extension there, it's a good time to do it. So, like, it makes sense. I'm still shocked, and I'm shocked that it's the Wild, but I'll tell you what, I kind of love it. I kind of love it for both sides. I won't say that I love it for the Canucks because they absolutely lost this trade. If you have to trade Quinn Hughes, you're going to lose this trade, but not a bad package coming back in return. I love Zeev Buium.
Yeah, I love this trade for the Canucks. Like, really. And I know that Quinn Hughes is the best player in the... What's that?
You can't love this trade for the Canucks. You just can't.
This is why. Well, I guess I love this trade relatively. They've made the best of a bad situation, and they didn't do something that a lot of teams stupidly do, which is, we're trading this guy. We don't want it to come back to bite us. So let's choose which teams we think minimize the risk of how much it'll come back to bite us. And in doing that, you're tying a hand behind your back and you're not getting the best deal. I think it was so important for the Canucks to get the best deal, because you're right, it's a lose if you trade Quinn Hughes no matter what, but also something to consider. This is the first big trade, with apologies to Stuart Skinner and Tristan Jarry. This is the first big trade this season, and it's the first case of a team clearly selling. The Canucks are setting the market to not fuck themselves when they're selling their other guys, because they got more trades to make as well. So if they do this Quinn Hughes trade and it's, okay, we're giving him to the Devils because we figure he's going to go to the Devils eventually, and you know what? Give us 60 cents on the dollar, and that's okay. When they then go to trade their other guys, when they go to trade Connor Garland or Kiefer Sherwood, the market's been set as, okay, we guess it's sort of a buyer's market. I like that they held strong. I like they went out and they got the best offer. Now, for the Wild, I love it because long gone are the days of them being uninteresting. They now have a good core. They're very exciting. And yeah, there's a lot of risk in this because he still could walk if he wants to go to the East Coast at the end of this contract. But they did give up a lot. Like Marco Rossi is a 24-year-old top 6 center who obviously everybody would rather have Quinn Hughes. So that's fine. But he's on a bridge deal that when he's at the end of it, 3 times 5, when he's at the end of that deal, he's still going to be an RFA. So that's a really, really good commodity.
They don't even like him. It seems like they don't even like him that much. They didn't want to give him that contract anyway. Like they were trying to trade Marco Rossi last summer. So they're not in love with the player.
Yes, they're definitely not in love with him, but that's still the fact. Is he not a 24-year-old top 6 center? That's a really good. So like that's a huge, huge piece. Zeev Buyum has not played as much on the power play as you would think that he would, but he's a good left shot power play quarterback. He's young. He's on his entry level deal. If you're losing Quinn Hughes, that is the type of piece that you want to get back. So that's great. Ogren is a first round pick who hasn't really solidified himself as a good NHL player yet. So that's kind of a scratch ticket. And then a 2026 first round pick, which is not going to be high because the Wild, despite being in a now stacked division, are going to make the playoffs. It's not going to be a lottery pick, so that's whatever. It's still a decent asset. The big things, though, that they got here are Zeev Buyum and Marco Rossi, and I think that is a really, really good haul to get if you're a team like the Canucks who kind of has your neck in the guillotine as it relates to this.
Yeah, definitely. And from Minnesota side, like, again, they weren't in love with Rossi. Like, giving up Buyum hurts, but, like, you're getting Quinn Hughes. And hopefully they can re-sign Quinn Hughes. That's the goal for them. But they have a year-long runway. They give themselves exclusive edge in terms of the CBA not kicking in. They can front load that contract. They can give him 8 years. 7 or 8. Is it 8? So they can give him 8 years.
Because the new CBA doesn't start until September. So on July 1, they just can't like sign him into next year at 8. But this summer they could sign him to 8.
Yeah. Okay. So he's eligible for an extension on July 1st. They can sign him to an 8-year deal. They can front load it with bonuses. Like they have the CBA edge over any other team. So that might help them. But like Rossi, okay, Ogren hasn't worked out like you mentioned. They can say fuck their first round pick. They don't give a shit about that. Like you signed Kirill Kaprizov to $17 million. Why? Because you're in a window right now. You're trying to win a Stanley Cup. And if you're the Wild and you're looking at what's happening above you in the division with the Colorado Avalanche and the Dallas Stars, 2 of the best teams in hockey, like you need to make a push. Getting Quinn Hughes and giving yourself a core for at least a year of Quinn Hughes, Matt Boldy, Kirill Kaprizov, 3 superstars in the NHL, and a pretty good lineup beyond those guys, and Wallstedt, emerging as a really good goaltender. This move makes them one of the best teams in the NHL. And I think 3 of the best and most fearsome teams in the NHL sit 1, 2, 3 in the Central Division. You have to be aggressive and you have to push. This is an unbelievable move, I think.
Yeah, I think they're not done, though. I think they can't be done. If they're saying, okay, we're kind of shortening our window a little bit, but by shortening your window, assuming that you're able to sign them, which is a huge if, you have, and consider that the other 2 teams I'm about to mention don't have theirs locked up long-term. So I guess they're all kind of in the same category. You are in the top 3 as far as, unless I'm forgetting somebody, I think of 2 teams when you say teams that have incredible duos, like how do they have both of those players on the same team in a league that has, as I read in 32 Thoughts the other day, not parody, but Garrity. Pretty funny. The Wild, Gary Bettman has wanted parody for so long. And he will make it happen one way or another. So it is Garrity. I believe it was the lead thought in 32 Thoughts the other day. Very good from Elliot Friedman. You think of the Avalanche, you think of McKinnon and Makar, and of course you think of Edmonton with Draisaitl and McDavid. I think the third team there you think of, and not to say that having a duo means you win the cup, because the Avalanche haven't won the last couple of years and the Oilers have gotten close, but they haven't. But if you're talking about what do you want to build around and you want to have 2 absolute studs, Hughes and Kaprizov, and I don't even know, like sometimes I don't even know who I would say is the better player between those 2, but they're both certainly top 10 players. And How many other teams have that? So you are in such a good spot. Again, assuming you can sign the player. As it relates to the CBA and having the edge there, I feel like there are certain players in Quinn Hughes I put on that list where it doesn't really matter, I think, that you can give them an 8-year deal and they can front load it with bonuses. I think that certain players, Matthews has done this and McDavid's doing it now, although McDavid's doing it on like no money. I think he's like, in any given year, I can make whatever I want. I am a name brand. I'm one of the best players in hockey. So yeah, you can give me 8 years, but I could also say, give me 2 years. And then in 2 years, I'll say, okay, give me 2 years at a couple $1 million more. Not every player is afforded that opportunity. Not every player has that cachet, but Quinn Hughes does. So I think that that might be one thing that offsets that. I'm a big get the player guy. As long as you're a team that thinks it's taking the next step, this is a leap forward for the Wild. As long as I think they need to replace Rossi somehow. And that's going to be easier said than done. But they need to be in the market now for not someone who's quite as good an asset, not someone as young, but as centers become available, they need to pounce. They need to not be done because you're going to end up being a little thin down the middle now.
Come on down, Casey Middlestat and or Pavel Zacha.
Pavel Zacha would be perfect for them.
Yeah, I mean, I agree they're probably not done. This shows that like they are going to be as aggressive as they can possibly be to contend this year and next year. And that's super exciting for a team that we've constantly berated for being boring and uninteresting. With outside of the past couple of years, they are now one of the most interesting teams in the NHL. And also now very, very interesting, the Vancouver Canucks, because how wild is it that like a month ago, they came out and they say, we are open for business. You can have any one of our players except for Quinn Hughes. And Quinn Hughes is the first guy to get traded from that group. Fucking crazy. Now you've got like, what is it going to look like there for the next few months? Like nobody in Vancouver like can be enjoying their time in Vancouver over the next month or two. It's going to be absolutely weird vibes. And I mean, like Sherwood, Garland, I think we know they're going to go. Maybe Myers, maybe Kane. But like, how's Brock Besser feeling? He just signed that long-term extension in an attempt to, convince Hughes to stay there. Like, I feel like they signed Besser and Demko to make a push to keep Quinn Hughes. And like that Demko contract hasn't even kicked in. And it's like, why? Why are you going to keep him? They didn't need to sign that extension. They went a year early, and now it's like, why is Thatcher Demko going to be there? That was one of my earliest thoughts yesterday was like, damn, that Demko contract sucks, both in that he's going to have to stay in Vancouver in a teardown, maybe, or they can trade him, but that's a tough number to trade. And if they hadn't signed him, he would have been so perfect for the Oilers. Would have been so perfect to trade to Edmonton.
Yeah, I mean, that is 8.5 is high, though. I know that he did it at a time when everybody was doing it, but damn. The one that I want to talk about was Besser quickly, because, I mean, that was such a they love me not. Like, is he staying? Is he going? Damn, does he wish that flower had one more petal on it, because it really seemed like he was gone. And then he ends up sticking around, and yeah, but if you're the Canucks, I don't think this has to be a total teardown. I think that you're not, no, but I mean, like, I don't think you necessarily have to go to the bottom. Like, the next couple of years, bottom of the standings type of team. I think that they'll have money in the offseason, and I think that with what they have back, they do have like the beginnings of something that is it's not like a top core in the league, but you have a young center now. You got younger at defense, but like Zeev Buium, I think he's already, I think, a top 4 defenseman in the NHL. He's going to be a really good power play quarterback. I think that he'll be probably a power play merchant over there now that they don't have Hughes anymore. I think that job's just going to end up going to him. I think that it doesn't need to become as horrible as it probably would have gone if they made a deal with New Jersey, if New Jersey was under the impression that they didn't have to give much because he's just going to sign with them anyway. I think and same would have gone if they got like a similar haul from the Red Wings with good management, and that's a big if. This doesn't have to be a go to the bottom of the league and be, respectfully, Sean, the Buffalo Sabres for like after they traded Jack Eichel.
Brother, I don't know. Like, obviously, it might depend on what you get back from the remaining pieces, but they're already dead last in the NHL. And
Yes. Yeah. I'm talking about. I'm not talking about this season. This season, obviously, they are at the bottom and they're terrible. But I'm saying they can be like kind of like where the Bruins are right now, which is probably bad, but can be a team that maybe sits in the middle and eventually pushes a little bit.
I mean, like, I think it honestly it might be better. I think it might be better for them if they just say, we are stripping this down to the studs and we'll start from scratch, because I don't believe in what they have there now enough that there's like a viable path forward. You look at the Bruins and you're like, you have Pasternak, you have McAvoy, you have Swayman, you have big pillars at each end of the ice. Who are the big pillars for the Vancouver Canucks right now? Like, you have Bouillon, maybe, but what else?
Yeah. I mean,
so that's it could be real bad there. And I just don't, I feel like this is the biggest single like core teardown in the NHL in terms of like speed and like how quickly it happened, I should say, since the Ottawa Senators, when they like tore it down after 2017, where you look back and you're like, oh, they had Carlson, they had Mark Stone, they had all these guys, they had Zibanejad, and then a couple of years later, they're all gone and they're elsewhere. Like, the Canucks have just distributed players all across the league. Bo Horvat, Lindholm, Zadorov, now Quinn Hughes, and that list is just going to keep going on and on. This is just an unbelievable case of mismanagement from Vancouver.
Yeah, a year and a half ago, they were a win away from the Western Conference Final, and they were on the rise. Their young guys were growing into their roles. They had a mix of good vets, and a year and a half later, their best player and their star is gone, along with everybody else, including the goalie that was getting them there, the young goalie that was taking the step forward in Artur Shilov's. Crazy mess. So that was like, I'd say best case scenario, they can be what I said before, but that is with savvy, proper management. And I think that management has kind of gotten them here, but also sometimes just shit doesn't go your way. Tough day to be a Canucks fan. I don't know though. Maybe Marco Rossi. Nothing's going to replace like the impact that Quinn Hughes has, but I will at the very least say you have more good players today than you had yesterday.
Definitely.
And it's not a pony for horses thing, because like Bouillon, I do consider a potential horse.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Are you rooting for Quinn Hughes long-term in Minnesota, or would you like to see a secondary installment of this drama?
I like the idea of Quinn Hughes kind of being the KD of the NHL, because that guy definitely doesn't want to be. He doesn't want any attention that he's not requested. But seeing him bounce around kind of could be fun. I'm really happy for the Wild that they took this swing, and I want to see swings like this rewarded. I wanted to see it happen last year when the Hurricanes went after Rantanen. It didn't work out, but I want teams that are kind of told, you're not in the cool kids club, you don't get to have the good things happen to you. I like when they say, well, our money is just as good as anybody else's. We have the assets to get this player. We're going to try. So hats off to Bill Guerin for that. Yeah, I'll say I hope he stays there. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm
the best jersey for
part of me is rooting for a little bit more balance in terms of the Western Conference and Eastern Conference. That's why I'd kind of like to see him maybe end up with an Eastern Conference team. I love the idea of Detroit, but now we'll see. So this is exciting. I'm just excited that Quinn Hughes is out of Vancouver and we don't have to slow play this thing when we know that it probably wasn't going to stick there. So very, very exciting stuff.
All right, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure, I'm assuming this is just going on YouTube anyway. Who knows? I don't know anything. But make sure you are subscribed and give this video a like. We love you so much. We have daily episodes Monday through Thursday. We'll talk to you then. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to What Chaos here on YouTube. You will get everything. Daily episodes, player interviews, and so much more. It's all here on the What Chaos YouTube. Hit subscribe.
I think that the Chicago Blackhawk jerseys are lame.
Whoa.
What? Boy, oh boy, it was like Christmas this morning when Pete said, well, we also have Winter Classic jerseys to talk about. And I said, Winter Classic jerseys are here. Followed up some incredible pictures. We kind of knew what the Blackhawks one was going to look like. It looks unbelievable. We didn't know what the Blues one was going to look like. I had high standards because Blues jerseys are always awesome. Blues, pound for pound, I think, are one of the better jersey franchises in the league. People will push back on that. That's fine. But they've done a lot of fun, cool stuff. Sean, if you wouldn't mind, show us these jerseys.
Do we want them both at the same time?
Yeah, may as well.
Show them for Pete and for Deej. So there you've got a much smaller Connor Bedard. But the Blackhawks jerseys are smaller.
All of them. They're going to be way tighter on the players just because they're all modeled after Connor Bedard sizing. So you should keep that in mind. But this Blues jersey stinks, baby. It stinks.
It's bad.
I think that this is the biggest discrepancy in Winter Classic jersey history. I think the Blackhawks jersey is incredible. The Blues jersey, it stinks, baby.
Well, since you brought it up, we can start there, and then we'll get into the details of these jerseys after if we want to, if we feel like it, if we have time. But I do not think this is the biggest discrepancy from one jersey to the next because I lived through, famously, the 2024 Winter Classic. And by the way, this is named weird that this is the 2025 one when it's in 2024, but whatever. Last year's Winter Classic, the Kraken jersey was an, oh my God, I need to purchase it immediately jersey. And the Vegas Golden Knights jersey was if this is $21 on sale in my bathroom, I would not buy it.
So that's kind of how I feel about the Blues. Like the Kraken jersey is unbelievable. That Vegas jersey is bad. We shit all over it last year, deservedly so. I would not want that Vegas jersey. I would say over my dead body to the St. Louis Blues jersey. It would not catch me dead in it.
Okay, so let's switch back to these jerseys, Sean, if you would. You would catch me dead in this Blues jersey. I would not be happy about it because I think a reason to say this Blues jersey is worse than the Vegas Golden Knights jersey is for your mind to be colored, informed by the fact that this is a Blues jersey. And you mean to tell me I'm putting a Blues jersey on and it doesn't look very good? F that. It's the same heat that the Celtics get every time they do a city jersey or a special edition. And everyone's like, that looks worse than your regular ones. Obviously, this is so much worse than the regular ones. It's worse than every variation they've done. The Blues are in a unique situation because unlike teams with classic jerseys like the Boston Celtics, when the Blues do other things, I think their standard jersey isn't classic enough that it allows for some imagination to the viewer when they see a different jersey where they say, oh, that's a cool spin on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cool spin on it. It's not like certain teams where you're like, your jersey is an institution. And if you put your name on anything else, it's going to look horrible to me. Blues, I think they're allowed some creativity. This is famously the first one that does not have a note on the jersey, and this is famously the worst jersey.
It's on the shoulder. It's the first one without the note on the chest.
Worst I've ever seen from the Blues.
It just infuriates me because the Blues have an easy path. Their color scheme is amazing. The note is great, and to make a jersey that just is so bland and boring, and like the language coming out about how proud they are that it just says St. Louis on the front is incredible to me. They're like, wow, it says St. Louis instead of the Blues. You left the best part of a Blues jersey off of your Blues jersey, and we're supposed to be excited about it.
Somebody in the chat said they're called the Blues, they're not the Creams. And while we're going to have to crunch some numbers to fact check that, I have no problem with them doing cream. 2022 Winter Classic, beautiful, beautiful jersey. I don't know. Did we end up putting together a thing with all like the history of team? Okay, so that is awesome job, Sean. That's the 27 Blues Winter Classic jersey, and then the 2022 Blues Winter Classic jersey. The 2022 one just clears life. It's very good, and it's like a modern Winter Classic jersey. It doesn't try to do anything throwbacky with the exception of the colors. And if you remember their stadium jersey series from, I'll ballpark it at like 2017, 2018. I can't really remember, or maybe it was the 2017 Winter Classic.
Are you talking about like the baby blue one?
Yeah. That was a nice one.
Yeah.
Again, they're never missing.
The baby blue one, I think that they used as an alternate for years after. So that's how good that was. Yeah, I mean, the Blues typically knock it out of the park. The St. Louis going across the chest really, really turns me off. I also hate that they have the stripe that ends halfway across the front, and then on the back, it does no longer continue. I will say the back of the jersey is tremendous. I love the typeface that they have for St. Louis. It's a custom typeface that was used on a prototype jersey that was never worn before the Blues started their franchise. But like that, they should keep that typeface on their regular Blues jersey. The back is incredible, great color scheme. But once you see the front of it, brother.
This jersey blank would suck. This jersey.
Oh my God. Yeah.
This could be one of the worst blank jerseys maybe we've seen in our time.
Because that was one thing I was going to bring up when you were talking about the VGK. I have plenty of takes on all of this, by the way. Like the VGK jerseys, I liked way more once we saw them in person and I saw a name and number on the back.
You famously tried to get me to get one.
I did.
That
is true. I did try. I failed, but I did try.
No.
At least they tried something. Like the design was cool.
Yeah.
I didn't like how like bland it looked in terms of the color scheme.
Yeah, and unlike the Blues, they really didn't have anything to work off of. Like I think they, from their conception, handicapped themselves with an incredibly boring branding. And now it is what it is. The Blues have no excuse to be this bad. I think that the Chicago Blackhawk jerseys are lame.
Whoa.
What?
No, they do not. They just do the same shit basically every time. And
Whoa. First red jersey in Winter Classic history for the Blues, or for the Blackhawks.
Is that true?
Yeah, they've never gone red before.
I guess that is true. But it's basically just a red version of the white jerseys that they've worn before. And also, like, I wanted black, but I guess they've done that. And they're just like not that special to me. They're just like not as good as their normal Blackhawks jerseys.
Oh, I disagree.
Pete, give him the finger.
I just think that they are not.
They
don't like rate for me in terms of like they're not top 3 Blackhawks jerseys of all time. And they're not top 5 Winter Classic. They're just like really average jerseys to me. They're not that special.
As is, I think, a common Sean thing is the take is strong and the showing of the work is impeccable. Every point that you make after saying, I don't like these jerseys, I agree with. Like, they're not a top Blackhawks jersey.
Well, then you're objectively wrong, because the first point that he tried to make was that it's the same as all the other ones,
but it looks
it's objectively false.
I wasn't listening.
It's
yet.
a red version. It's a red version of a jersey they've worn 2 times for the Winter Classic.
That's not true.
Oh, that's okay. You're right. It's a combination of what they've done before. It's just like not that interesting.
Well, they've pulled from a lot of things, and that happens when you're in your 5th Winter Classic. We can argue that they've been put in this too many times.
Yeah, I mean, that's another conversation.
And that they're kind of painted into a corner where they can't do anything all that new.
Well, and I think it's kind of like the Red Wings thing and what we saw with the reverse retros, where it's like we have such a classic brand, you can't do that too much, or you end up like the Blues, where you just look bad because you've abandoned what makes your jersey special. And I just think that they are in a situation where they really can't. They just add varying numbers of stripes, and I'm over it.
We don't talk enough about how the Blackhawks just ran the exact same Winter Classic jersey back
to back.
In
that
3 years.
I think there's slight differences with the lines on the bottom of it, but it's
the exact same.
It is very minimal. If there are differences, that's for sure.
Sean, do you prefer this jersey to the 2009 one? You think the 2009 one's better?
I think
I really like the 2009.
I think that I'm just like a real big fan of the black ones. I don't know what I
think this is
I think this is better.
Nice,
I think this one is better.
I think this is the best one that they've had. I think this is the best Winter Classic jersey they had. You said it's not a top 3 Chicago Blackhawks jersey. I think that it is. That's probably true, just because the Blackhawks red jersey primary, the Blackhawks black jersey primary,
and the
Blackhawks white jersey.
That's what I'm
primary.
saying. They're in a situation where they can't make their jerseys better.
But this might be the 4th best Blackhawks.
So we would agree they're in more of a Celtics position than the Blues are.
Yes.
Where you're like wear your jersey and you win.
The Blues,
unless you're famously playing a hockey game this season.
The Blues have it easiest, in my opinion, because it's just like throw the note on it and it's going to be cool. Make it red if you want. It's going to be a good jersey. But they abandon the one thing that makes their jersey special. Whereas the Blackhawks, the thing that makes them special, I think, is their logo, and they just are like, oh, we're going to throw, like I said, varying numbers of stripes behind it, and it is what it is.
And I hate to be real, like you're the only team that can use that kind of imagery.
True.
Because there's a good story behind it, and there is not the kind of historical we'll say shock value that there is behind some of the other team names and logos and renderings, etc. So you can depict this in a beautiful way, and you're allowed to lean into it, boys. Yeah. It looks great.
I mean, I think there's definitely a line there.
Somebody sent me I just texted it to you. Somebody just sent me a vintage jersey that would have been a much better template for this Winter Classic. Ooh. And I fucking love it. They're absolutely right. I can't believe I haven't seen this jersey before.
Oh,
but I love it.
I mean, it has I've definitely seen ones that have the text that say Blues over the note. I feel like they did some sort of throwback. I can't find it on any of the jersey databases, but I thought that sometime recently they did the note with St. Louis over it. Am I making this up?
No, they definitely did. It was more of like a handwritten type of font. It's St. Louis and then the Blues that wrapped around it. Yeah, it definitely existed.
That was on the yellow one. Yellow reverse retro jersey. The second edition of the reverse retro jersey.
Oh, yeah, but that wasn't as good then because I didn't like the yellow. Maybe
I agree.
It was a bit of a, quite frankly,
worse piss jersey.
Bit of a piss jersey.
Yes.
And not a good one.
We all silly like the mayor.